I think there are several topics we could look into. If we go through the exhibition here, it's all about digitalization, automation. So we have a lot of innovative solutions now. For example, those autonomous shuttle buses, small vehicles, even autonomous wheelchairs that could be used for the transportation of people and goods. For small commune in Sweden, we probably can think about last mile transportation with shuttle buses, for example, connect the residents to the train station with autonomous shuttle buses. You can book it and then you can just go on demand. We can also probably offer autonomous shuttle bus solutions for the people who work in another place. So we take them together and then transport them to the working places. That's probably will avoid everyone drive their cars by themselves. Another things could be, since we have very good home connectivity, why not let people working at home? That will save a lot of transport needs and also reduce the emission. And of course, electrical vehicles we should use. We should offer emission-free transport solutions for the people, no matter it's shuttle buses or other types of transportations. Another interesting thing for elder people, we could use these small vehicles, not shuttle vehicles, but for example, wheelchairs or things like that, for them to move around autonomously. That could be very interesting.
Do you think that such solutions could be easily implemented in a Swedish traffic context, or do we need to adapt the infrastructure, digital or physical, in order to make it happen?
We definitely need to increase the digitalization for the vehicle control, for provide better positioning solutions. That's one of the challenges in general. But in Sweden in general, we have a good traffic situation. I think we can already today, it's possible to introduce such solutions. But of course we need to improve and we need to test and pilot to prove the solutions, to find out the challenges and to solve it.
Could small Swedish cities serve as living labs and pilot sites for that kind of solutions?
It's definitely, we are trying to find those small cities are willing to. I think there are many positive small cities are willing to do such tests, and we are trying to identify those and analyze their needs and design solutions tailored for those small cities. In general, I think in Sweden we have a very good and innovative environment, and we should take the advantage of such environment to try those new solutions and to see if people want it or not, if people accept such solutions or not.
If a city in Sweden want to become a pilot site, what is first step that they should do? How should they proceed in order to become such a place, let's say in a couple of years? Do you have any specific suggestions for them?
We have now already some testing going on. We have experiences. Now we should talk with the cities directly to make a plan. I think the first thing to do is to see what we have at the city, what kind of roads we should use, what kind of supporting solutions we already have, digitalization, and then make a plan. What the applications they need. Is that to transport the labor forces? Is that for a solution for the elder people? or maybe for children to going to school. Those are the needs. What is the prioritized needs for them? And then we build tailored solutions and start testing there.
I want to go to one of your favorite areas, connectivity,
Yeah.
and put it in context of rural areas. How could we proceed on that area? Do you have any suggestions? Rural area connectivity.
In rural areas, for now, the connectivity is okay with coverage, but to provide a high-speed wireless connectivity, that will need the telecom operators to invest, which probably they are not so positive because they do not earn too much money from those areas. Well, in this sense, the authorities needed to set requirements. The coverage and the capacity should be reach a certain level, which is basically the responsibility of a PTS in Sweden.
Are there any incentives that authorities could offer to these companies in order to attract them to invest in rural areas?
Authorities should have this incentive, but from the standardization perspective, coverage and capacity, this is the requirements in the standards, which means if you want to provide 5G solutions, you have to reach those standards. The coverage has to reach very high, almost 100% coverage, all-time coverage. You cannot have disruptions of the coverage or capacity. This is the basic requirement from 5G. The operators should follow.
Now when 5G cellular communication is quite close to implementation,
Yeah.
could rural side serve as a pilot site for such technologies?
It's a little bit harder to say because what we understand now is definitely the city will lead the implementation because the services provided by 5G is still for the data communication, which the cities has the biggest demand. But for rural areas, the demand is not so high, the capacity is not so high, so the operators have slower possibilities to earn money on that. So they have to compensate from the big cities to the rural areas, which has to be included in their business modeling. So it's hard to say.
Okay. If you go to pedestrians and bicyclists, are there any particular solutions, maybe based on cellular communications and other type of communications that could easily be implemented in Sweden in order to stimulate people to use that kind of transportation even more?
For pedestrians, the 5G is used for safety. So essentially, in the future, 5G will be able to enable connectivity between the pedestrians, bicyclists, and all the other cars for collision avoidance. In Sweden, this could be a very important things we should look into because we are dark all the time. This is a very special situation for the bicyclists and pedestrians, especially probably in rural areas. You might meet pedestrians on the road with no signs, no indicators, but with the connectivity, you have your cell phone with you all the time, so the car will know there is a pedestrian or bicycle nearby. This is very important to protect the safety of the pedestrians and bicyclists. So I think this is a good user cases for the rural areas, because in big cities probably infrastructure is a little bit better, but in rural areas you don't meet so often. So but when you meet, you probably do not expect there is a pedestrians coming from somewhere out of nowhere. But with connectivity, the cars will know there is a person nearby. So this could be very good for the traffic safety.
Could this be solved with existing technology, or do we have to wait for 5G?
I think for the current technology, it's already possible. There are some solutions for the vehicle to pedestrian communication with the current 4G technology. Or you can see the 4.9, 4.8, this LTE advanced technology. So it's possible to try.
Have you seen some solutions here at the conference that could be implemented and used in Sweden? Maybe something related to pedestrians and bicyclists?
We have seen the devices provided the telecom operators that potentially could be used. But I haven't seen any products or things that could be used directly, or you can buy on the market. You have to still prototype and try.